Hi friends, we have the privilege of having Mr. Sayem Mehmood with us here today. Sayem, welcome to TalentSprint.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Sayem is having a lot of plans for India, bridging the digital gap, and he has the experience of having worked with UNESCO, the World Bank, and many such projects. So here he is there in TalentSprint today, and we are looking at getting the digital gap reduced in India. And he represents an institution called ICDL. We will hear more about himself and the institution from him. Sayem, welcome again.
Thank you.
Nice to have you in India. You are basically from India, right?
I am from Delhi actually.
Okay, and how long you have been abroad so far?
Well, I've been away for quite a few years from my college days. It's been about 12 years.
Okay.
And I'm very excited to be back. This is my first professional engagement back in India after 12 years.
That's excellent. So with that background, can you introduce yourself? Yes, I know that you are from UNESCO, you worked with World Bank, now with ICDL.
Right.
But we would be keen to know more about you.
Sure. So I'm here at TalentSprint today representing ICDL Asia, which is an international organization that trains and certifies people on digital literacy.
Digital literacy, okay.
And it's an international organization that is recognized in 150 countries, and we operate through a network of about 25,000 centers, test centers, accredited test centers. So there's a very strong global network, which has so far, I think, certified 13 million candidates around the world.
You're meaning 13 million, 1.3 crore people?
That's right.
Okay. That's right. So you have spoken a little bit about ICDL. Can you, is ICDL an Asian organization?
Well, ICDL originally started as, it stands for International Computer Driver's License, and its origins are in our parent organization, which is called the ICDL, or stands for European Computer Driver's License.
That's interesting. You're saying computer driver's license.
That's right. It's the name actually is a representative of the fact that it's a training and a certification program aimed towards improving the productivity of the workforce. So it's really it's really about how to get the maximum, or how to harness the full potential of computers and the modern information communication technology in the modern workforce or workplace. European Computer Driver's License was actually or ECDL Foundation was actually a group of computer societies of European countries that came together to address the concern of this evolution at the workplace, which was anticipated in the late 90s. It was anticipated that the computers are going to probably change the workforce or the workplace entirely. And how does Europe prepare itself to have a workforce that can harness the potential of this? And once it was a successful, let's say, operation in Europe, and it was recognized as an international standard, then it was taken internationally through ICDL, which actually stands for International Computer Driver's License.
Okay. So that's pretty interesting. In 1990, definitely it made a lot of sense to come out with something like this.
1998.
Before 2000, because computers were not that much well known.
Right.
In today's context, everybody works and uses computer.
Right.
How are you finding its necessity even today, or has it lived its life period?
Well, it's relevant more than ever before today.
Is it? Okay.
Because I think regardless of which sector, I think every person that considers themselves as a knowledge worker in the 21st century somehow interacts or has to sort of deal with modern information communication technology. Therefore, I think in today's context, having these skills and competencies which can improve your productivity at using these modern technologies is more relevant than ever before, I would say. And I think there's also an interesting development that's happened with the coming of the introduction of modern tablets and touch technology. I think mobile phones and different form factors of the computers have led to let's say a ubiquitous presence of technology in our lives. At the same time, there is emerging a set of two very different skills.
Okay.
where you can definitely use a mobile phone for sharing photos or posting a tweet or
That's right.
setting your status on the Facebook. But for us, those remain still a set which we consider as life skills. These are absolutely necessary and are creating a certain new society in a certain way where we share things with each other in a very different way. But at the same time, the workplace still requires a certain set of skills and competencies which are distinct and are very well defined.
Okay.
So we believe that indeed with technology and mobile phones, the information communication technology is accessible to a lot more people today. However, to remain relevant at the workforce and to remain productive at the workforce is we need to constantly keep working on improving
So
this
just
quality.
to rephrase what you're saying, what you're suggesting is while technology has reached everyone,
Right.
has everyone used the technology to improve productivity?
That's right.
Right? And you're saying that skill is what you are trying to bring in through your certification.
Right. Exactly. So ICDL actually focuses a lot on quality. It's a benchmark. It's become an international standard on basic computer applications.
Before we get there, a few interesting questions for you. How long ICDL has been in India? I mean, what's the background?
Well, I mean, we've always been available if anyone really wanted to, but as an organization, we have really entered just like within the last 6 months.
So you are heading this new Project India for ICDL.
You could say so. I mean, in the sense that we really think that India is a country which has a huge potential, and it has delivered excellent results in terms of producing incredible technology professionals that are heading technology organizations around the world. At the same time, we still face a challenge in terms of digital gap, and the gap in the digital literacy. I think the country stands at about 7% digital literacy, and this is what we feel that we are motivated towards improving and supporting it.
Yeah, one of the very interesting things when we recruit people or when we have our various companies recruit people through TalentSprint, right? Every resume says, I know computers.
That's right.
Right? And some of them say, I have some certification. Right? So, how does something like ICDL, and unfortunately at this point of time there is hardly any measure that we have saying that if somebody is really proficient in the, say for example, Microsoft Office tools,
Right.
but someone who claims to be knowing it, and there is hardly any difference, right? So do you think ICDL comes in and takes care of that place?
Absolutely. I think in two ways, two interesting ways. One, of course, it sort of sets the benchmark for candidates so it's more like a certification gateway. So yes, all of us know these tools to some extent, but having an ICDL specified module mentioned on your CV sort of guarantees your employer that what are the minimum
there's a quality
competencies that you have. In addition to that, it also equips the candidate with an internationally recognized certificate, which is recognized by 150 countries. So it's in a way a win-win situation for the employer as well as the candidate.
Oh, when you're talking about 150 companies, are you looking at India being one of them? Countries, okay. When you're looking at 150 countries, is India one of them, or you're working towards making that one?
Well, in India, we have been in discussions with a lot of organizations, and I think we're still a step away from saying that it's nationally recognized. But I think within the period of next 6 months to 1 year, we want to get the endorsements of major institutions, national relevant institutions that are relevant in this area, to know about ICDL and also to sort of recognize it.
When we were chatting some time back, you were talking about the Korea example. I mean, Korea seemed to be very big on ICDL certification.
Right.
Can you give a little bit of background about that?
Well, countries like Singapore and South Korea have been at the forefront of embracing technology and preparing a very effective workforce for the 21st century. And they have adopted different models, and one of them really was to embrace an international standard, which is the ICDL, to train their workforce. So in Singapore, for instance, we work with the Workforce Development Agency,
Okay.
which is the national agency to prepare people entering the workforce, which has adopted ICDL as a standard. In Korea, we had a very strong success, very good success with the universities. So almost every graduate, regardless of the discipline they were coming out from major universities, were taking ICDL.
Okay.
And it's all managed by the Korea Productivity Center, which is a part of the government.
Okay.
So there has been sort of national, let's say, initiatives which are supported by the government or almost led by the government to train every candidate and certify every candidate on ICDL.
Okay. And in India, I understand you are talking with National Skill Development Corporation and NSDA.
Yes, in India, all the relevant organizations that we have discussed with include NSDC, National Skills Development Corporation, and NSDA. We also had a workshop at NSDA, which was really aimed at making the agency, the Skills Development Agency, aware of ICDL and sharing with them the best practices and the experiences we have from around the world.
Okay. So when you look at the lot of people who typically the category of people who come to TalentSprint or those who are in their final stages of completing the degree or who have just come out and looking for their first job or a career shift from one category to another. Right. We typically look at people in the 20 to 28 category. For this category, how important is a certification, international certification like this? How useful will it be?
Well, I think this is really the right time for when the candidates are really ramping up their CV with all the certifications and degrees. So it's definitely very relevant. There are, I would say, there are multiple opportunities for candidates. The way the ICDL profile system works is that once you register and get on board on ICDL, it's designed to be sort of a lifelong learning experience. So say you're getting a basic job which may not require a lot of technology skills, you could still go ahead and get the certification on base modules. But tomorrow you get a better offer or you want to sort of move up the ladder and you want to apply for a job which may require higher skills. With your same registration, you can go ahead and take our standard or advanced modules and sort of prepare yourself for a job role which might require more computer skills. So I would say yes, for a typical TalentSprint candidate that is aspiring to either join the financial sector, insurance, or now the newly launched teacher initiative, I think ICDL would be a certification that could be very useful in all these three sectors for them.
Incidentally, I think in the Indian banking industry, people are required to go with a certification saying that they know the basics of Office, Microsoft Office, and basics of computers. And I'm sure an international certificate like this will not only satisfy or tick mark that qualification, but also really give the actual certificate which is valid across the globe.
Absolutely, and at the same time, I think it will also, we are confident that it will also improve the efficiency of the candidates once they go through the certification process.
Okay. And one area that you have just spoken about is teachers.
Right.
How do you think a certificate like this is going to be useful for the teaching community, and what's the experience in other countries in this category?
As you know, that the education landscape is changing significantly, and most importantly, the classroom environment is changing. So the teaching and learning experience is now a completely new experience which has been enhanced by modern technology. The presence of smart boards and projectors and digital objects as learning material, introduction of tablets, I think all of this require both the teacher and the student to have a certain level of competencies and technology. And I think that's what the ICDL certifications do address. It's been a very successful story for us with a lot of international schools around the world. And in India also now we've done multiple workshops. This is our second workshop that we did today here in Chennai with TalentSprint. The first one was already in Delhi. And later this week we'll be doing workshops in Hyderabad and Bangalore, targeted towards schools for teachers and students.
Good. And the TalentSprint relationship that you're looking at this point of time, what is your expectation of this relationship, and where do you want to go from here?
Well, I think we really valued the training capacity of TalentSprint and their presence in these cities that we are working together with, which is Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad. I think both there's a certain synergy between ICDL and TalentSprint in terms of the importance of quality. I think both organizations really stand for quality and make no compromises in that manner. And I think soon we shall be announcing a partnership, maybe later this week or early next week, where we want to come together and accredit TalentSprint as an accredited center for Southern India.
Okay.
And no, we are really excited. I think we are really excited, and hopefully more such programs and workshops will be done together once the whole partnership agreement is materialized.
That's great. So we heard from Sayem just now on ICDL's international certifications and how this can help the job seekers in today's context for getting ready for their careers. At TalentSprint, we are very happy to associate with ICDL and look forward to the pleasure of taking this international certification for the Indian community, and wish ICDL and Sayem the very best. Thanks for joining with us today, and have a great
Thank you for having us.
days ahead.
Absolutely excited. Thank you.